everyone. I'm so excited to have your attention this morning. I've had 3 cups of coffee and a Diet Coke. Can you tell? Actually, I'm like this all the time. My parents used to pay me to go to sleep. And that's not a lie or an exaggeration, seriously. I was what should have been a Ritalin baby, but they didn't have Ritalin then. So they just held me down until I went to sleep. And I'm hoping that I can hold your attention for at least the next 5 minutes to tell you 3 things. What you should be doing to expedite the college choice early on, and when I say early, I mean 6th grade moving forward. How you should be planning to pay for college, and then I want to tell you a little bit about the process and how I help my clients. So, as Bill said, my name is Angela Conley. I'm from Fort Worth, Texas, which is why my email is Fort Worth Woman, and I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan, and whatever. And I went. And I'm very much appreciating Bill wearing orange for the University of Texas at Austin, my alma mater. And that was a long time ago, more long than I can think about. And I'll talk more about that after I get my hair colored. So I want to tell you what you should be doing for college now, why it's important, and why the competition is changing so much. So how many people have $500,000 saved for college? Okay, that's good to know. That means I have the right audience. So right now, if you want to send your child to a selective college, say Columbia, my alma mater, or MIT, my first job out of college, it's about $250,000 for 4 years. So knowing that it's $250,000 for 4 years now is important because the price of college goes up 4 to 12% every year. There are half a dozen colleges in the country that will give you a set price. When I say set price, they tell you in no uncertain terms what your tuition is now is locked in for the 4 years. I'm a big fan of those colleges. Now the reason that that's important is that the average debt on graduation for an American child right now is $25,000. Now, that's the debt on graduation, but the statistics show that it takes 8 to 15 years to pay it off. So while you'll graduate with $25,000 in debt, typically the end result is closer to $50,000 that you pay after interest. So how can you avoid that? Well, there are 3 things I want to tell you about, and they tell you in communications. I have a BS in BS, that's what it says on my diploma. That you tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you told them. So I want to tell you what you can do to avoid it, give you a little bit of detail, and then summarize. Does that work for everybody? Great. So how many people have a child going to college in the next 4 years? Oh, boy. Huh. Yeah, but the first question was how many people had $500,000 saved for college? So we should really do this quickly. So there is $1.6 billion available in financial aid each year. $1.6 billion. And you do not have to be poor to get money, which is the biggest fallacy out there. So I have a client this year whose family income is $160,000. And she is paying $20,000 a year for college. And her daughter is going to the college that's number 21 in the nation. How did she do that? She did 3 things. First of all, she took the most challenging classes available. So colleges don't just admit you on SAT scores. Everybody talks about SAT scores. But if you have rock'em sock'em 2,100 out of the possible 2,400 on the SAT, and you get an 80 GPA, they could care less. So you've got to have balance. And don't believe the hype about the well-rounded. We're not looking for well-rounded. We're looking for kids who have a passion. So how many of you know the passion for your son or daughter? About what are they passionate? What is your child passionate about?
Music.
Music. See, but that's huge. The average student right now stays in college 5 to 6 years because they come with no clue about what their passion is. I was in college for 5 years because I couldn't make up my mind because I did 2 things really well. I ate and talked. So I was 99 pounds when I started and 165 when I graduated. Because I talked for the whole meal, dining hours. You need to know their passion, because if you know their passion, then you can give them exposure to events and summer programs every year starting in 6th grade so that they are really clear about what their passion is. Then they don't stay 6 years in school because they come in knowing I have something I'm interested in. There are summer programs all over the country, and there are summer programs that are not based on income where you can go for free. A young woman at our church, her parents are very well off. She's going to a program called Telluride. Telluride is 6 weeks at Cornell, MIT, the University of Michigan, the University of Texas, or the University of Iowa, where you are writing like you're going to get published. And the students write a paper every week about a topic and debate it. So this year's topic was about the fact that American kids don't know the history of the United States. So if you ask them who somebody was, like, what's the difference between Booker T. Washington and Abraham Lincoln, they really couldn't tell you. And so the students are supposed to come up with ideas to how to make history more relevant. So that program is 6 weeks. And if you're a Telluride scholar, you're a Telluride scholar for the rest of your life. And it's free. 3,000 people apply each year. They pick 30 for each campus, and one of the kids at our church got it. Now, I did drag her kicking and screaming across the finish line, but now she's on the road, so the schools know who she is because they share the kids who participate in the program with all the colleges that she'll be applying to. So summer programs. The second thing is, and Deidre's going to give you one of these little handouts at the end. I brought wristbands to remind you. There are 250 scholarships that your children can apply for before age 13. So don't believe the hype that you need to wait until your child is a junior, the spring of junior year before they can apply. I have a student who won $24,000 in scholarships before her junior year. There are 59 different websites with scholarships. So you could be applying for a scholarship every week. And there are 5 major scholarship websites, but you don't apply randomly, you apply based on different things. So there are scholarships based on merit. So I was a gymnast, so I could apply for gymnastics scholarships. There are scholarships based on being left-handed. There are scholarships based on being less than average height. And there are scholarships for various other talents. But the issue is there are all kinds of scholarships. And the money is sitting there. Remember what I said at the beginning, $1.6 billion in scholarships. You don't have to be poor to get scholarships. You can apply, and I tell people what Aristotle said. Aristotle said, we are what we repeatedly do. Thus, excellence is a habit. So get your children in the habit of applying. So then when they have to apply, they're not freaked out. And I'm like, oh my gosh, the deadline, I got to wait till... No, none of that. Because they're in the habit of applying for a scholarship every week. And then as they're getting that money, they don't get it. If you get money before you're a senior, it goes into something called a 529. So they can't touch it, and it's accruing interest. So summer programs, applying for scholarships. The third thing is, yeah, your children need to have an opinion. So how many of your children read a newspaper? One, okay? How many listen to National Public Radio? Do your children know what's going on in Syria or Somalia or East LA? So the students I work with learn that they have to listen to National Public Radio every day for either Morning Edition or All Things Considered, or a show called Marketplace that talks about what's going on around the world. If they want to go into business, they have to read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. They need to read the book Billionaire about a kid who was a millionaire before he was 21. And they have to read Freakonomics and Super Freakonomics, because they have to be able to tell me what an ROI is. If you can't tell me what the return on investment is, then you really don't want to go into business because you don't know. If they want to be a doctor, they have to read These Gifted Hands by Ben Carson, so that they understand that there are 8 classes you have to take to get into med school. And this is important. I'm working with some kids in Harlem, and they're like, I want to be a doctor. I'm like, great. Did you take calculus, chemistry, physics, anatomy, physiology, statistics, and English?
Angela, you said you were a talker, right? So like 1 more minute, please.
1 more minute.
Thank you.
So,
you're doing great. It's just,
so those 3 things are the things that I help people with. Help them figure out what they have an opinion about, because you have to for interviews. Help them to find money early, because you don't want to be paying until you're in retirement. And then giving them exposure every summer until they get through high school, so that they know what their passion is. So they don't get to rest on their blessed assurance, and you don't have to sit on an empty wallet, because you've done what you need to do so that you can do what you have to do, which is pay as little for college as possible. Early, often, apply. That's all there is. Thanks for your attention, and please, please stay for the rest of the talk.
Thank you.